Hey, before we begin, I just want to say thank you so much for clicking on my video. It means a lot to me, and hopefully you get to learn something new today. I don't really have an intro this time, so all I can really say is, by the time you're done watching this video, you'll get to know the ins and outs and obtain a complete understanding of this character. First, we'll be talking about his passives, what Hugo's best build is, and of course, his best teams. Again, thank you so much for watching today's video, and let's get started. When Hugo stuns or triggers a chain attack, he will gain the Dark Abyss state for 6 seconds. In this state, his crit rate increases by 12% and crit damage increases by 25%. If Hugo hits an enemy with his EX special or ultimate while they are stunned, he will trigger Totalize. Totalize increases the damage multiplier of the move by a massive percentage and will deal even more damage depending on how much stun time the enemy still has. This also means that certain effects that increase or stop the stun duration will make Hugo's Totalize deal more damage. This includes lighter stun duration increase and the freeze disorder. After Hugo triggers the Totalize effect, he will immediately end the enemy's stun and apply a certain amount of days up to 25%. And finally, if the enemy isn't stunned, his EX special will apply 20% more days to the enemy. Now for the team passive. Hugo's chain attack damage increases by 15%, Totalize deals 40% more damage, and whenever his EX special triggers Totalize on normal enemies, Hugo gains 20 energy. For this unit, all of his damage is in his Totalize effect, but it's good to know all of his moves as they are still useful in many more ways than one. Hugo has a 5-hit combo where his 4th and 5th attacks can be charged. These charged attacks will deal increased days if fully charged and have a decent amount of range. Moving on to his specials. Hugo's special and EX special can be used to close the gap or reposition both Hugo and his teammates. If you're fast enough, you can reposition with your EX special and cancel the move with your ultimate without spending energy. This is because your EX special spends the energy when Hugo starts attacking, not when he starts moving. There's also one more thing I'd like to add for his Totalize effect. This effect will trigger as long as the enemy is stunned as soon as the attack lands, meaning you can trigger another chain attack right before his EX special lands to inflict more days overall. Totalize will trigger whether or not Hugo is the on-field unit, so you can be a little creative with him. For W engines, Hugo's signature, Myriad Eclipse, is his best in slot. On top of a crit rate main stat, the wearer will also gain the following effects: an increase to their crit damage by 45%, and they also ignore 25% of the enemy's defense when landing an EX special, chain attack, or ultimate. To be honest, the rest of the W engines at a glance just pale in comparison to this new signature, as the def ignore is very powerful. We also don't have any other W engines that help with ice reduction at all, so this is a very welcome addition. While every other W engine is pretty much a stat stick, most of them are still pretty good for Hugo as a substitute. One notable W engine I'd like to mention is Steel Cushion. While not the strongest, his specials make back attacks very easy to land, so Hugo can take full advantage of the back attack bonus as long as your positioning is solid. For the build, 4-piece Woodpecker with 2-piece Polar is going to be your best. Of course, if you have an attack 2-piece that has better subs, then I would recommend that instead. As usual, I recommend crit rate or crit damage, ice damage over attack percent, and finally attack percent. For stat goals, you want to reach a minimum of 2500 attack and a maximum crit rate of 88% before buffs. Hugo already gains 12% more crit rate from his core passive, but it won't show up until after he uses a chain attack or stuns an enemy, so keep that in mind when building this character. For teams, Lycon and Lighter are his best allies. Lycon provides an insane amount of ice resist reduction, and Lighter not only further reduces the ice resistance, but also specifically increases the ice crit damage enemies receive. I also tried out a team with Astra in the mix, and the results were expected, but still interesting. The reason why it's so close is because Astra's own attack buff is carrying this team, but while it's very strong, it still doesn't beat the Fire and Ice duo because of two glaring problems. Number one is there's one less stun, so Hugo won't be able to trigger Totalize as often, and two, running this team makes Hugo's damage become super saturated with attack. So while Astra does close the gap a little bit, the top team is the top for a reason. As usual, here's the list of times I have clocked in while fighting the super aggressive Hati. I'd also like to mention that even the slowest team that I have clocked in still clears at a decent 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Now while that's not something to write home about, if all you care about is clearing Shiyu defense, then you're pretty much set if you have 2 stuns at all. Before we continue, there's a couple of things I have noticed while doing these tests. For some reason, Polkar's aftershock attacks can't be triggered by Hugo's EX special. The same thing applies to Trigger's coordinated support as well.
Wide open.
Hey, Editor Dan here. The next portion of this video was going to explain how its stun damage multiplier does not affect Hugo's Totalize. But after double checking, turns out it does, but the damage difference is nearly minimal, at least compared to stat-based multipliers like res reduction and element amplification. And that's about it. Hugo is a very nice and refreshing welcome to the current cast. While somewhat reliant on specific units, he does offer some screen time for some of the older units like Anbi and Kaleda. If you pulled for Hugo, tell me what you think about him. If not, let me know who you're going to pull for next. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Focus. Good. Not. Keep up. Let the party begin. Gotcha now. I'm not opposed to it. We're just getting started. Begun! Make way for the undefeated champion! I shall balance the scales of the night. Let order and madness dance! Yep! I'll repent! Gotcha! Yours truly, Mockingbird. Yes, I'll eliminate any obstacle. Be gone. I shall cast dawn into the shadow. The end is nigh. Freeze all evil! Gotcha! I shall cause dawn into the shadow. Yes! Only for Master Blaster. This was the real crowd pleaser. My pleasure. I shall balance the scales of the night. We're just getting started. I pledge my honor! I shall cause dawn into the shadow. There it is. I shall balance the scales of the night. Let order and madness dance.
I'll bite your throat out!
This one's a real crowd pleaser.
By your will.
Funeral death. Souls from me. I shall carve stone into the shadow.
Time to clean them up. Stop the raging blade!
An opportunity.